Okay, so this is the last video. Um, we have a little warning sign right here, and it says do not extrapolate the data. Extrapolation occurs when you predict outside the range of data. So for example, if we look up here, I think the best way to do it is with a test grade. So if we look here, where is it? Here. Okay, so here, my fitted line, I can only go ahead and predict between 0 all the way till 8. So 0 to 8 hours. I cannot predict anywhere outside. Why? Because I don't really know what's going on. So if I want to figure out if I studied for 100 hours, what will my test grade be? Well, it is not safe to use the linear regression equation to predict something outside that range that's really, really far away. In some cases, you can do it for 8 or not, for 9 or 10 if you want, because it's not too bad, but we do not know what happens outside of this range of data, so we try not to extrapolate, and that's what basically extrapolation is. So do not extrapolate outside of the range of data. So this is what this basically means. So a little bit of extrapolation. Now, the last thing that I just want to go ahead and talk to you guys about is the following. So if I go to Statcrunch, hopefully all of you guys can see this, right? What we require to do in Statcrunch is be able to graph variables. So this is where you can go ahead and go into Statcrunch on your own time, right? And I wanted to conduct a linear regression output, right? So here I have hours studied, and I also have the test grade. All I gotta do is click on stat. Okay, so I'm gonna click on stat, and then I'm gonna go to regression, and then I'm gonna go to simple linear. So that is gonna make me do a linear regression. So I'm gonna click on it. In this case, my X variable is gonna be the hours studied. And my Y variable is going to be my test grade. Now, right before I click compute, right, because the compute button's right down there, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and click or go all the way down. Oh, I can't go down. I'm going to go all the way down. And on the graphs, I'm going to click on, let's see, where is it? Residual versus X value. So this is going to give me the residual plot that we were talking about in the last video, because this is going to tell me if I see a random scatter, we know that linear regression is not going to be appropriate. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me move this a little bit down. Okay. So what I did, I put in my X variable, I put in my Y variable, and then on the graphs, I'm going to click on residuals versus X values. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and press compute, and what I'm going to get is a regression output. So the regression output that we obtained in the notes, right? So here is all of my all my Y, my X, my regression equation, my sample size, my correlation coefficient, and my R-squared value. Now, if I go ahead and click on this arrow way down here on the bottom right-hand corner, what I'm going to get is the residual plot. So the residual plot is right here. You can see that there's kind of like random scatter. You can't really see any sort of pattern, right? So my residual plot is there, and that's what it is. Now, let's say I wanted to see the data itself with the line. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and click on options, and I'm gonna go ahead and edit it, right? And then I'm gonna go back to the graphs. Okay, so I'm gonna click on here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just put fitted line plot. You can go ahead and look also the histogram of the residuals. You can see a lot of different things. So I'm gonna go ahead and compute. Same output, nothing has changed. Now the only thing that's different is that now I don't have the residual plot. Instead, I'm actually looking at just the data. So you can go ahead and play around with this if you want. So here's my model. And yeah, you don't need to worry about this just yet. All of this is going to be later on, but you will know how to read this later. So that's it for linear regression. Really, what you really want to know is how to read this type of output and know when it is appropriate and when it is not appropriate to use linear regression. Okay.